Look, in terms of donating to charity, can we put that in the parking bay and deal with that as an issue? I'm more interested in the words, does that mean we should? Did you hear that? Does that mean we should? Thanks, Andrea. Do you mind if I pick up on that? Because does that mean we should has this whole connotation of Christians behave like this. Right? So therefore, because I'm a Christian, I better start doing the things that Christians do. Christians, they give to charity. Right? Christians bake cakes for a stall down in the street. Right? Christians go regularly to church. Some of them wear a tie. Christians, they don't smoke. Right? Christians, are very particular about what websites they will and won't look at. Let's get a full list, shall we, of all the things that Christians do. Why don't we make up a full checklist? We might be able to get a great big scroll, right? We'll cover the whole walls of this shed and have a column for everyone's name, and we could check the boxes, couldn't we? Right? Of all the things Christians should be. Right? Does this mean we should? Does this mean we should? Right? It so taps into what I see happening in a lot of churches. And look, I'm sure it's done with a good motive, but it saddens me in a way. What we do is when people start to believe in God, we tell them about grace. We tell them about how they're received and forgiven by Jesus. Then, once they do that, we set to work trying to make them look like Christians. We go, now Christians look like this. They look like people who turn up in time for church dressed in a certain way. They look like people who regularly read their Bible. They look like people who help with charities. They look like this, they do this, they don't do that. And we start conforming, we get this image of how people should look, and we go, yes, now you look like a Christian. Hooray! And we're all very happy. And at the end of the year we go, we've got all these new people and they all look like Christians and we're so happy. Now, does that mean we should? Right? The whole essence of what a Christian is it's someone who's born of God's Spirit and is walking with God. So there's no, does that mean we should, other than your relationship directly with Jesus. Whatever He is leading you in your heart, in the freedom of the Spirit, as you grow in Him, your heart will desire His heart. Progressively, slowly. Like a small child grows up with its parents and learns to adapt and blend into the family. It all comes naturally. It's the same way with the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God sets a heart free. So what you should do is be you that loves Jesus. Be you that listens to the Spirit and goes the way the Spirit is going. And you, as a Christian, should look very different so that these people over here and these people over here. What do we want you looking exactly like them for? Because being a Christian is not fitting into a mould so that we all come off the production line. I am a Christian. I look right. It's you set free by the Spirit of God, and you'll be you. It'll be you set free by the Spirit of God. It's you walking with Jesus. So do you get the whole thing of, does that mean we should? Right? It's much more important than the, I'll talk about the charity thing. It's probably an area that I'll have to get my life right before I preach it. But does that make sense? Does that mean we should? I'm so glad that question came out. It's so much better to be a Christian than to look like one. Can I say that again? It's so much better to be a Christian than to look like one. In fact, from my own experience, I'm sad to say, trying to look like a Christian is actually exhausting. Because you're always thinking about impressions and whether you're measuring up and whether you look right and where the people are approved. It's people pleasing in a way, trying to conform yourself to some imaginary image. Christians are just people. They're people who believe Jesus is alive. They're people who've been indwelt by the Spirit of God, and we should all be completely different.